good thing to display after European voyages. Madeline even inveigled a few lessons at the Art Institute and a season of instruction at the École des Beaux-Arts in Paris. But when she dared to want to exhibit her work in a public showing with other artists, that was most unacceptable, unthinkable. She was a lady, a Vaughn, and it was time she behaved like one, marrying well, having children, becoming a society hostess. Her own feelings did not matter, should never be shown. She was shut in a box again after that tiny taste of freedom. Only Peter had rescued her from the stultifying life of her parents' Fifth Avenue house. Pete, sweet Pete, who had once shyly danced with her at their childhood cotillions, who brought her flowers and books of poetry and walked with her on the beach at Newport, who let her sketch his portrait the day before their Grace Church wedding. Pete, who didn't care that she hid away in her attic studio when he went to his law office in the mornings, who didn't care that she didn't want to host grand dinners or answer calls when ladies left their cards in the brass bowl in the hall. Then Pete went to war, to the muddy, bloody trenches of Flanders, and he never came back. And her whole world had turned black and cold. She had felt as if she would drown in the darkness, until she swam upward to the light. The pure, bright blue, blinding light of New Mexico, a place she had barely even heard of before she'd seen it. And she'd found her art again. Through art, maybe one day, she might find herself again, too. Might dare to find a new spark of happiness. But not if her family had their way. They would lock her away, snatch away the light, if they could. "Mrs. Alwin?" A soft knock sounded at the door, the train porter waking passengers at last. Madeline hadn't been able to sleep at all, and had been sitting up waiting for the dawn for hours. "Breakfast in 15 minutes. "Thank you, Oscar." She quickly made sure her dark hair was still in its neat twist at the nape of her neck, and her mauve travel suit was as tidy as it could be on a long voyage, then opened her handbag to look for a lipstick. Her mother's letter was still there, crumpled amid the compacts and train ticket stubs. She shoved it under a handkerchief and tried to forget it was even there. She was almost home now. Maddie made her way out of her tiny sleeper berth and into the narrow corridor, looking toward the dining car. She was used to the constant swaying by now and wondered if she would even be able to walk on steady ground again. She couldn't wait to kick off her heeled shoes and feel the gritty dirt of her garden under her feet, the uneven plank floors of her little house. Just thinking about it, about how close it all was now, made her feel a little lighter. The dark oppressiveness of the Vaughn mansion was falling away, layer by layer, like woolen winter cloaks and sweaters when the summer sun came out. She smiled as she swung open the door to the dining car. Usually she was very first to breakfast, wanting to rise as early as she could to see how the landscape had changed in the night, how they passed from the green rolling hills of the east to the flat plains into the desert. She was surprised to see she wasn't alone this morning. A man sat at a table at the far end of the car, reading a newspaper as he drank his coffee. He didn't seem familiar, so he must have gotten on at the last stop, when Maddie was tucked up in her berth with a book of Rembrandt etchings. He didn't glance up as the door opened. He seemed to be deep in his own world, his own melancholy thoughts. Maddie could tell they were melancholy because she often glimpsed just that expression in her own mirror, a faraway, hazy look. She thought with a pang that perhaps he was struggling with some old mourning pain, just as she carried her sadness for Pete everywhere she went. But she was startled to notice he was also quite interestingly handsome, despite that sadness. Tall, lean, with broad shoulders beneath his tweed jacket, he had light brown, close-cropped hair, just turning silvery at the temples, a short beard that emphasized his strong jaw, and lips that were almost too pretty for his rugged looks. It would be a challenge to sketch him. Madeline hadn't really noticed.